We made Elacor's UI for human beings. It is meant to be simple and modern. Hi, my name is Guillaume and I run Ela Networks. In this video, I will walk you through the whole UI. The first thing we need to do is to log in. Now that we're in, we're greeted with a dashboard. Here you can see at a glance the number of connected radios, subscribers, active sessions. You can also see resource usage, such as IP allocation, as well as memory usage, database size. It is quite useful to see at a glance. If you click on operator, you see all of your operator information. Typically, you will set this information once after you've installed Ela Core and leave it as is for the rest of its deployment time. So for example, here you see your country code 999, your network code 01. If you click on radios, you can see the set of connected radios. In my deployment, I only have one radio that is connected, this cable-free system right here. If you click on events, you can see all of the messages that are sent to and from Ela Core to the radio. You can click on individual messages and see their content. This information is quite useful for troubleshooting and for audit. In the networking page, you have 4 tabs. The first is data networks. Here we have one data network that is created with the name internet. We have a private IP pool, a DNS, and an MTU that is configured for that data network. You can click on interfaces and see the 4 interfaces that Ela Core is using. You can configure an external address for the N3 interface. So this is the interface that is used between Ela Core and the radio. You will use an external address in cases where Ela Core is running behind an ingress, for example, and the address that the radio sees is different from Ela Core's local address. You can create routes on the system where Ela Core is running. And you can set network address translation to on or off, depending on whether you want to use your private IP address outside of the scope of Ela Core or whether it will only be inside. In policies, you can configure bitrate. That can be quite useful if you don't want a single device to saturate your whole pipe, for example. In subscribers, you can view and manage subscribers. Here we can create a new one. You can either generate values for the subscriber ID and key, or you can bring your own. Once you've created your subscriber, you can view its information. You will need this information whenever you burn SIM cards. In usage, you can see the amount of data that is being used by each device, both uplink and downlink. You can filter by date and by subscriber. Here we can see that the device using the most amount of data is this one ending with 505, and this is the iPhone that I have right here. It's using that much data because I use it on a day-to-day basis. Now, let's move on to the system level settings. In users, you can manage users that have access to Ela Core. Now, let's create a new user. We'll need an email, a password, and a role. Ela Core supports 3 roles. The first is admin. Admin can perform any action. Network managers can perform any action except system level actions, such as creating users. Read-only, like the name entails, can read everything, but do nothing. Here, let's create this user as a network manager. Okay. In audit logs, administrators can see who did what and when. This can be very useful for audit, like the name entails. Here we see that we logged in, we created a subscriber, and created a new user. In backup and restore, you can create backups of Ela Core. Now let's create backup. We do recommend to create backups on a regular basis. In case of a disaster, if you don't have access to your Ela Core system, you can always recover. You install Ela Core from scratch, and you upload the file that we just downloaded. Okay, now let's click on the icon at the top right on profile. Here you can change your password. You can also manage API tokens. API tokens are used if you want to perform operations using Ela Core's API. Let's create a token. Let's call it demonstration. We'll give it an expiry date that will be Friday. Okay, and here's our API token that we can use to perform API operations. So that's it for today. This is the whole Ella Core UI. Thank you very much for watching.